I welcome y'all to the PPL live show. Shit's liver than a California sideshow. On the board, all the teams talking mad shit, especially when the squad gets their ass kicked. PPL's like a bad bitch with an ass lift. Everybody wants to get some action. Making trades while we're drafting. One of a kind, no other they can match it. PPL ever coming to you live. 12 years strong and we're never gonna die. Real talk so you know we'll never lie. Betting down 50 trying to win the whole pie. Let's get the shit cracking. Welcome to the best sports show on the planet. Damn it. Tune in to the PPL live show. Kick your feet up like the blunt, get your eyes low. PPL gets you ready for the week. Co-host Matt Page shows hate when he speaks. Gino and the Jake gonna speak what he see. PPL motherfucker, I'm a OG. I'm ready for the shit to get started. Time to find out who's good and who's garbage. It's time to find out who the next champ is. Trying to win the whole pot, time to go cash in. World War III, time to load up your team. Hit the battlefield, leaving blood on the scene. You can speak what you think, I don't care what you mean. Focused on me, steady building my team. Now I'm sicker than COVID-19. EJ hops on the throne, but I'm coming for a seat. So's everyone else in the league. I just don't see a challenger stronger than me. With that said, dog, I'm ready for war now. Like I'm strapped in the hood, kicking doors down. PPL is my game now. Used to be fun, but the shit in the game now. Bringing the pain now. Opposites is laid down. Done with the flow, dog. Nothing left to say now.
And that was our man Charlie White giving us the 2020 intro to PPL Live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Gino the Gent here. All right, and we got Ulysses S. Hate on the line. We're here. Week 3 is here. Week 2 is in the books, and we're going to recap Week 2, and then we're going to jump right into Week 3, starting with our Week 2 wrap-up of scores with the Mean Machine, led by a late surge from Alvin Kamara, defeating the Argonauts 146 to 116. Only for the boss flex his muscle behind Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, scoring 177 to the Twins 101. The GAFF attack finds resourceful way to do it again, beating the United Players the Destroyers 154 to 107. The Baby Gas team upsets squad underestimated who's reeling from injuries 124 to 80. And the Skulls leave no doubt behind Aaron Jones against Appease the Gods 187 to 125. All right, and we got our Leave No Doubt players of the week. My Leave No Doubt player of the week is none other than Aaron Jones of the Skulls. Aaron Jones was unstoppable against the Detroit Lions, racking up over 230 yards of total offense with 3 total TDs, with long touchdowns, sealing the win for the Skulls. Ulysses, who is your Leave No Doubt player of the week?
My Leave No Doubt player of the week was Alvin Kamara. Again, helping Mean Machine beat an Argonauts team that hasn't suffered many Alpha Conference losses. I mean, I think the Argonauts probably have more Pantheon Cup titles than they have losses to Alpha teams in that stretch. So, I mean, this is a huge win early on in the season. I think they really flexed, and at that point in the game, I think it was really kind of still up in the air.
Right.
And Alvin Kamara came in, and I think that he asserted the kind of dominance that by the end of that game, we knew who was going to be walking away from that matchup a winner. Congrats to the Mean Machine and Alvin Kamara.
Right, Mean Machine wins against the Argonauts, putting themselves at 2-0. Alvin Kamara had 2 touchdowns, 79 yards rushing, and 95 yards receiving to lead the way for the Machine. We'll see if they can keep it up in Week 3. But our attention turns to Week 3 and the Alpha Conference. Baby Gas team takes on Only for the Boss. All right, man, here we are. The Only for the Boss going for against the Baby Gas team. Both surprise winners last week. Only for the, well, I wouldn't say Only for the Boss was a surprise winner, but Only for the Boss scoring 177 behind Mahomes and company. And then, of course, the Baby Gas team beating the Reeling Squad underestimated behind a Sunday night show from Cam Newton, man. What do you think of this matchup, Baby Gas team Only for the Boss?
Yeah, I think Baby Gas team was really fortunate last week with the injuries but definitely to the squad. But I think that Cam Newton's really flexing. I think that we're seeing what could have been in Carolina if they really game planned to their quarterback strengths. Is really what I'm seeing out there. I think that Baby Gas team has a solid set of matchups this week. I think that they could really they could get this game. I think that, you know, this Kansas City team is scary, but I think that playing Baltimore, we're going to see two of the more hyped offenses, and I think that it has the potential to be a more defensive matchup.
Okay.
I know that we've seen some offenses just go out of control. You know, Baby Gas team will put together enough of the game plan. I think this is just one of those weeks where if Kansas City plays a really tough opponent, that it could have an adverse effect on them when they otherwise should be putting up some points. So I'm going to give it to the Baby Gas team. I'm going to say that they get 120 here to only for the Bosses 114.
All right, man. You better watch out, because I've gotten from some sources that only for the Boss says that Ulysses S. Haight needs to put some respect on his name. I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to put a little respect on the Boss's name, and I'm going to give you a reason why. Calvin Ridley is turning into a star before our eyes. Matt Ryan is starting to favor him, and with Julio Jones looking a little hobbled, I think Calvin Ridley is going to probably have another big game. I get your point with Baltimore and Kansas City, but both of those teams' strengths are their offenses. I think that only for the Boss is able to still get what he needs. I love Stephon Diggs, although he may attract our boy Jalen Ramsey. Cleveland defense against Washington, you know, Haskins is due for a couple of sacks. Now on BGT side, I love Cam. I love Dalvin Cook. I'm just not as enthused about anything else. With Melvin Gordon now getting the majorities of the snaps, he's lost his quarterback, and Tampa Bay is really starting to show that they can play some solid defense, so I like them there. Will Fuller didn't even make a catch last week. I see that he's still in his lineup. I think that's a little bit of something that he could adjust. And it looks like Phillip Rivers' arm is shot, and he can't get the ball to T.Y. Hilton. So I don't even really like that play. I got only for the Boss in another strong performance, winning this week 135 to 118. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into the Omega Conference as the Skulls take on Patty's Twins. All right, man, so the Skulls leave no doubt last week. Kareem Hunt had a great game. Aaron Jones had a great game. Tyler Lockett had a great game. Metcalf had a great game. That two-receiver theory, he's testing it, and he's got us looking like idiots, man. But Deshaun Watson still hasn't really found his footing yet. On the Twins side, Aaron Rodgers and Austin Eckler are about the only things that are reliable on this team. What do you think of this matchup?
Yeah, I think that this is, I mean, again, hats off to the Skulls. They really showed me the potential of that team, because, frankly, week one, I was not buying.
Right.
But I think the Skulls put the league on notice this week. But I think that this is the Twins get right week. I think that Aaron Rodgers has the right matchup in New Orleans that has all the feelings of a classic shootout game. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams put up 50 points in that game. Aaron Jones, I think that he really showed what his potential is, and I think New Orleans is going to have to game plan for that and see if they can maybe force Aaron to win it with his arm. He's done it so far, but I think, you know, they'll try to go quarterback for quarterback there and try to take away that weapon. I agree with your assessment with Deshaun Watson. I don't think it gets any easier going to Pittsburgh on the road. I don't know if I would trust the Colts versus the Jets, but I mean, hell, the Twins know more than anybody. They've been bad. You know, they were on the losing end of that Patriots game Monday night. Right. I just feel like, you know, with a Jonathan Taylor, again, he's a sneaky, like, at only 2 games in, but I mean, again, this is a guy that she got in the second round. He's 10th ranked at the position.
Right. Projections only going up, Ulysses. I mean, it says 16.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that she got a good draft pick, and I think this team I think has potential to do better than what they've gotten on the scoreboard thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think Kareem Hunt and Cleveland. I'm not buying that Cleveland team just yet. I think that was more a reflection of how bad Cincy is, and I'm not bought in on the 2 wide receiver set. I mean, Dallas is terrible. This may be the week that it continues, but I think that a lot of teams are going to come back to earth and kind of settle more into their play styles. I think Patty's Twin course corrects here.
Okay.
They get this win 119 to 111.
All right, I'm gonna have to go the other way, man. I think Patty's Twins is it may be a long year. Looking at their roster, I like Alston Eckler. I like Keenan Allen. Looks like they're gonna go with Herbert, which did give their offense a little bit more of a spark. But I'm looking at the Skulls, man, and I mean 187 is 187, man. And Kareem Hunt, and I know that it was Cincinnati, but Cleveland committed to the run. If they continue with that game plan, it's highly effective. And I think Kareem Hunt can carve out some nice weeks like he did last week. Aaron Jones, I mean, I think that the reason why I'm so bullish on the Skulls this week is because of Aaron Jones canceling out some of Aaron Rodgers' production. I mean, if Devontae Adams is even a little bit, hobbled or he can't play, Aaron Jones catches a lot of passes from Rodgers, so he can cancel a lot of Rodgers' effectiveness out of this matchup. Like I said, the Lockett Metcalf thing, he's testing that theory, and so far so good. I love Darren Waller. Like I said, I really think this guy can be a top tight end this season. I love all the Skulls pretty much everywhere around here. The Twins may need to make some tweaks to their lineup. Jonathan Taylor's intriguing, and I do like Hayden Hurst. He did some good things, but I'm just not. I think their receiving core leaves something to be desired. I got the Skulls winning this matchup 130 to 122. And moving on to our next matchup, we stay in the Omega Conference as Appease the Gods takes on the defending Omega Conference champions, the United Players, the Destroyers. All right, man, Appease the Gods. I wouldn't say they fell back to earth. They had a good showing, about 125. But, when you get no doubt left on you, there's really nothing much you can do. On the United Players side, another lackluster week. Gronk, their first-round pick, another 0. They don't even have a tight end in the lineup this week. I mean, what do you see in Appease the Gods United Players, the Destroyers? Appease the Gods actually one of the few teams to beat United Players in their strong season last year.
Yeah, last year's feeling like a long time ago, looking at this United Players roster, looking at the decision-making. Him still starting Tom Brady, I don't think is the best play. I mean, we're at a point where Josh Allen, I mean, this guy put up 40 points last week. And I think that, he needs to make some lineup adjustments. He needs to go out there, be more aggressive in free agency, because I don't even see him having a lot of trade pieces at this point.
Right.
So, again, with Chris Godwin, we're not sure where that is. He's really relying on that Tom Brady-Godwin connection, which just hasn't materialized yet this season. I just look at Appease the Gods lineup, and, Lamar is who he is. I think a lot of these other players are strong. Hilaire's looking great. Evans, I think, has shown that he's a real favorite of Tom's just so far.
Right.
Noah Fant to be drafted where he is, and he may be a keeper. I like all these matchups, and just looking across at who they're going against on the UP, I wouldn't take UP in any of these matchups as of right now. So I think that Appease the Gods coast here. I think that UP is in bad shape unless they make some serious changes to this team. I'm going to say that Appease the Gods goes 126 to 103.
Okay. I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. When I look at this matchup, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football. What better player to have to close out a matchup on Monday Night Football at home than Lamar Jackson in a game that, I mean, we're predicting it could be defensive, but it could very well be a shootout. And I could see Lamar really trying to show out against Patrick Mahomes. For ATG to have that ace in the hole late in the matchup, just to me, is a very big trump card. What I don't like on ATG's side, and then he does have Edwards-Helaire on the other side of that matchup. So even then, I'm loving ATG's Monday night, you know, in case they are behind. But I think that it's important for them to get a lead in this matchup. Joe Mixon, Allen Robinson, those guys have a lot of talent on teams that, you know, are still trying to find their way. But if those guys are heavily involved this week, ATG can blow this one out of the water. I love Chris Carson, and I don't love Dallas's defense. I love Buffalo's defense, even though they did give up some garbage to the Miami Dolphins last week. But I think that the Rams are going to present a different challenge. I think that game's going to be tight defensively. I like both defenses. I think that's going to be a low-scoring game. But I don't really like what Tampa Bay is doing with Tom Brady right now. Denver's a house of horrors for him. He doesn't really play well there, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Derrick Henry's kind of fallen off from last year. Kenyon Drake told his fantasy owners that, hey, if you don't like me, give me up and watch somebody else reap the benefits. So I guess he's telling people to be patient. And then, of course, I like Julian Edelman's connection with Cam Newton. It looks like they have a nice little rapport that they're starting to develop. But other than that, I don't really like anything else. I do like Pittsburgh against Houston. Watson's there to give up sacks. But it just is really dependent. I got to appease the gods in this one. Winning this matchup 124 to 110. And moving on to our next matchup, we go back into the Alpha Conference as old-time Alpha Conference rivals clash at 1-1 as the injured, hobbled, squad underestimated stumbles into this matchup with the Argonauts, who also took one on the chin last week. All right, man, so Kyler Murray leads squad underestimated, who doesn't look like the same squad underestimated that started the season. McCaffrey out. Barkley out. Squad's got to pick up the pieces. They don't have great replacements at running back. On the Argonauts side, you know, if you ask them, they would just say it was an off week. They didn't play their best. What do you got here? Squad underestimated the Argonauts.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this I think matchup is indicative of two teams that are just really banged up. I mean,
okay.
Squad had some catastrophic injuries, and we're gonna know. I mean, a lot about what Squad thinks is possible this season,
okay,
based off of if they make a move within the next 2 weeks to acquire a running back. They're not going to win Alpha. They're not going to make the playoffs without Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, or a feasible replacement.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're going to have to do, but you know, it may be too early to say season-ending decisions. But when you lose those two guys,
right,
I don't see how you come back without. I mean, Jerick McKinnon and Darrell Henderson Jr. are not those guys.
Right.
Kyler again is emerging. He was my player, you know, my lead no doubt player of the week last week. I think he's coming into his own.
Right.
I think they're getting Kenny Golladay back. Adam Thielen's looking real good. You know, all these other matchups I think are decent. I just think that without running backs, the squad's going to be in for a long campaign. On the other side, I'm not so sure that the Argos are in much better shape.
Okay.
They've got a lot of guys that are banged up. I mean, Drew Brees you know, he ain't what he used to be. And I would be surprised. I said it last week that I thought Matt Ryan should be in this lineup, and he showed it. That being said, again, I don't think that squad's got enough to overcome the injuries. Argo, again, with Devontae, I think, has a better week next week. I think George Kittle, they don't have an answer there. I mean, again, you can't plan for that kind of stuff. And so, you know, but, you know, tight end is a position where you can take a knock on the chin and be okay. Losing two RB1s is not the same thing.
Right.
And so the squad is still reeling for me. And I think this week is going to show it again. And I've got Argos winning comfortably here. I'm going to say that they're going to get to 131. I think squad ekes out, and I say ekes out, a 97.
All right.
So I think squad needs to do some stuff.
All right. I'm going to have to agree with you there, just based on what's going on at running back. I do think McKinnon's going to get a load of carries against the Giants because Tevin Coleman's out too. So McKinnon may have himself a pretty strong week. But I don't know about Devery Henderson Jr. I don't know how bad Malcolm Brown's injury is now. if he is hobbled, I mean, it's still not a great matchup for Henderson. So, I mean, there's that. I do like Adam Thielen, but I don't like Kirk Cousins, and that's really starting to slow Thielen down. You saw how last week went for him. What I am excited to see is Kenny Golladay. I think Kenny Golladay is a guy that could really surprise in this matchup. And then he's got 2 Monday night guys with Andrews and Marquise Brown. So squad's not completely out of this matchup yet. Good defensive play with the Niners against the Giants. On the Argonauts side, Drew Brees, I mean, he still hit his projection. He was at about 19 points. That was about what he threw for 300 yards. I think that the problem with Drew Brees is there's no Michael Thomas. And I think that hurt the Argonauts actually more than it hurt the Mean Machine last week. But looking at the rest of the matchup, Josh Jacobs against New England, I thought that the way to beat the Patriots is through the air. I don't know if Jacobs is going to be able to put up as good a game as he's had the first 2 weeks. That balance in that running game is going to be important, especially for Nick Chubb, because he's not as good as a receiver as Kareem Hunt. So they're going to need those points there. Adams and Jones was really what was the problem last week. Even with a bad game from Goddard or whoever the tight end was, Julio Jones only got, I believe, 3 points, and Devontae Adams only got like 5. So, I mean, you put that together. That's not, you get your wide receiver 1 and 2 combining for less than 10 points. That's probably not going to be a good week. Zeke fumbled. I mean, it just was a bad week for them. I think that they get back on track. I say the Argonauts win this matchup 121 to 108. I think squad underestimated has a hard time scoring. Moving on to the prestige matchup of the week, our interconference matchup, as the COACHGATE conspirators clash, as the GAFF attack takes on the Mean Machine. All right, man, both of these teams coming off of great wins. The GAFF attack put up another big-time week, another huge week from DeAndre Hopkins, and great quarterback play from Dak Prescott, along with solid performance from Leonard Fournette, who went for a big 26. And then, of course, the Mean Machine scoring their big win in the matchup of the week last week behind Miles Sanders, Alvin Kamara, and Odell Beckham Jr., man. What do you think of this matchup, GAFF attack and the Mean Machine?
Yeah, I'm loving it, really. Two teams that at the beginning of the season, I didn't have high hopes really for either of them.
Right.
I don't think either of them drafted really well, but I mean, I think what we're seeing, again, with the GAFF, it looks like the Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott battle, at least for now, has been won by Russell Wilson.
Right.
I think it probably should have been from the start. But, I mean, hell, he's there. I think that this is kind of one of those key matchups where I think, the GAFF is being slighted by what the projections.
Okay.
I mean, this team has real high caliber scoring potential. I think, Leonard Fournette has really ingratiated himself with Tampa Bay on short notice, and I think he's only going to produce more. DeAndre and is probably the primary reason that Kyler is really balling right now. I just see that the GAFF has a lot of scoring potential that is downplayed in his projection. And to me, the other side, I just can't really take the Mean Machine. Props for them for being at this position, and props for them for beating the Argo last week. I mean, again, have my leave no doubt player in Alvin Kamara. I think this is a talented team, but they don't have quarterbacks.
Okay.
And I think that until they do, it's going to be hard to take them serious when so many of the teams are able to rely on quarterbacks that are going to put up a minimum of 20 every week. And I think that the GAFF has that. I mean, whether he's playing Russell or Dak, I expect those guys to put up 20 every week. Ryan Tannehill on the road in Minnesota, I don't know. Minnesota, again, is kind of in that Atlanta territory for me, where they're probably a better team than their record reflects.
Right.
And this is a get-right week against Tennessee. So I think that Tannehill struggles, and I think that the rest of the down slope may struggle as well. I just think that the GAFF has a better team at this point, and I think that he's in fact gonna leave no doubt. I think that the GAFF has been showing scoring potential. I think they get to 140 this week to a Mean Machine's 131. I think that they live up to the hype this week and give us a show.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go the other way. I actually like Ryan Tannehill as a pickup. I thought that was actually a pretty good pickup. He's a top 10 quarterback this year. He's had 2 20-point performances. So they're trying to right the ship at that position. I actually like Miles Sanders. I think that they're going to start pushing the offense through him because Carson Wentz, man, he's got that haywire gene. And I think that Miles Sanders kind of helps to alleviate that. And I thought he had a solid performance last week despite fumbling. And Cincinnati showed they can't stop the run. So I love Miles Sanders' matchup. James Robinson's another one. He's got a great matchup against Miami. He played well against a pretty tough, I believe they played the Titans last week defense, and he ran for over 100 yards. So Mean Machine's got some pretty good matchups. I don't like the Odell start, but at the same time, there is no Michael Thomas right now, so they've got to go there. I like Amari Cooper in the matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. I think that's going to be another shootout. New England moved up and down the field against them, and they're more of a run-based ball control team. So I could imagine a team like Dallas that likes to air it out, being able to move the ball also against Seattle. Hunter Henry also was solid, and I think that they're going with the kid Herbert. If they go with him, I think that opens up Henry for some potential scoring. And then obviously your player of the week, Alvin Kamara. He's got Green Bay. That game's going to be high scoring, and I think that he can give him some punch there at the end of his matchup like he did last week. On the GAFF side, the reason why I'm just hesitant is because even though Leonard Fournette did have a good game, he did that on 12 touches. You can't expect him to do that weekly on 12 touches. They still get the other guys involved. The Bucs are schizophrenic right now. They don't know what they want to be. I would say they probably do need to get Fournette more involved, and it would have been obviously benefit the GAFF if they did. But I think that they're still trying to prove a point with Tom. Todd Gurley. The Falcons are going to be throwing, and I don't like the matchup against Chicago. DeAndre Hopkins, I think that's the one guy that you pencil in on the GAFF and say he's unstoppable. That's going to be a guy that he's going to get his points. I expect a big game from him. And then Juju Smith-Schuster, man, I think he might be losing a little steam in that offense. It looks like Big Ben is starting to find other guys to go to. I think Schuster's still a big part of that team and a big part of that offense, but I don't think he's the clear-cut number one like everyone says. I do love the Jonnu Smith pickup, and I think CeeDee Lamb is a great double dip with Dak, although he's going with Russ this week. I don't think it even matters which one he goes with this week because I think that game's going to be high-scoring. I think both quarterbacks are going to play well. But in the end, I have the Mean Machine actually winning this matchup, 136 to the GAFF Attacks, 131. Alrighty, ladies and gents, thanks for another week of PPL Live. Geno the Gent and Ulysses S. Hate signing off. May the odds be ever in your favor.